Silent Whispers. Fiction, heartfelt, hope, mystery, sadness, and laughter. Where there's a will, there's always a way. Intro. In a small little town called Oak Hill, Florida, lived a little family who fought to try and make the bills with no extras, as it was a family of 3. Alyssa, the 10-year-old daughter, Savannah, the mom, and Kevin being the dad. Dad worked as a construction worker in Daytona. They only had one vehicle, and it wasn't in the best of conditions, but it got him to point A to point B and back home. She was about to graduate the 5th grade, and she was excited, but her journey would be a tough one to follow. But she kept her head high with high spirits. Will they make it, or will they fail? Every morning, Alyssa would follow the same routine every day. She would get up at 7 a.m., set her bathroom timer for 5 minutes because her parents didn't have a lot of money for electric bills. Then she'd brush her hair and teeth, get dressed, and walk to the end of her driveway, where the bus would pick her up. She's always got picked up or teased, but being picked on and being teased didn't get her down. She'd always ignore it and keep her head held high as she continued to lunch or classes. Although she did have 4 friends, Marissa, Brendan, Carlene, and Tori, which were also classmates, she'd always have a smile on her face because she knew it doesn't pay to be down and blue. She was a very pretty girl, as she had long blonde hair to her waist, deep blue eyes as blue as the sea, 100 pounds, and 3 feet 11 inches tall. She was proud of herself because she was different from other kids in a lot of ways, but one stood out. She was always grateful for what little they had and never took anything for granted, even good people, because they were very far and in between. When in gym, when they did activities, almost no one would choose her to be on their team, as she was always last to be chosen. Gym class. Mr. Hayfield. Okay, class, today we're going to play volleyball, so you will divide into teams of 6. So choose your teammates. Brendan waited till last to choose. Jolissa chose Jenna. Joshua and a few others. Joey chose who he wanted on their side, till the only one that was left was Alyssa, which Brendan chose. Jolissa. Why did you choose her? She's a loser. Man, I don't get you sometimes. Brendan. Because she's my friend, that's why. Haley. You mean your girlfriend? Ooh, ha ha ha. Brendan. No, she's my friend. Plus, it's none of your business anyway. Haley. Well, I hope Dork Girl can keep up, haha. Mr. Hayfield. Haley, Jalissa, both of you, go sit on the bench. You're benched for the game, and you'll be going to the office after class with a referral. Laughed sarcastically. Oh, let's play ball. Everyone laughed at the girls and the coach as they played, and Brendan stuck his tongue out at Haley and Jalissa. Both teams played a good game, as it was very competitive, as they yelled to one another, "Catch it, yeah," until Timmy hit the ball real hard at the end and hit Alyssa and knocked her down. As the ball hit her so hard in the face, it stung and made her nose bleed. So Coach told Brendan to escort her to the nurse's office to get cleaned up, as she stayed calm but had tears rolling down her face, while everyone laughed at her. Timmy, goalie! Ha 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 ha! As the coach yelled at him also. Mr. Hayfield, hey Tim, you can go to the office with the girls and get written up. Goalie! Ha 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 ha! Very funny. Everyone laughed at Timmy and pointed. Krevin, boom! Ha 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 ha! You got served. Good one, coach. Tim, shut up. So not funny. Mr. Hayfield, get cleaned up and move on to your next class. Krevin, or you're next. By lunchtime, Alyssa was relieved at the end due to lunch was the last thing of the day, as in 15 minutes the bell would ring, but she would tell her parents she had a good day because she didn't want them to worry. Each day she never had anyone visit due to she didn't want them to see how she lived, so it gave her time to study. There was only 5 days left until graduation, and she was happy, but on the way to math class, Tim had tripped her as she fell, and all her books went all over the floor as she looked around embarrassingly while they all laughed, and Trish slapped her in the back of the head as she fell again as they laughed harder. But Alyssa just looked up at them and kept her cool as she walked into class as Carlene had helped her up. Carlene, let's go. Forget them. They're jerk-offs. The whole 5 years at elementary had been that way, which she hoped middle school wouldn't be as bad. Page 5. Her parents were there with a smile from ear to ear as they were so proud and took pictures and video as she was called up to the receiver her elementary diploma, but they had no idea of what she went through on a daily basis, although she had always write each day down in her diary at night before she'd pray and lay down by her bedside and go to sleep. Dear God, thank you for all that you have blessed my family with, and please always watch over us and help us through these dire times. Amen. As a single tear would fall from her cheek, as she would wipe it away, get in her bed, and as she would look up at her plaque on her wall, smiled and fell fast asleep. Her parents would come to her door and look in at her and smile before they retired to bed each night with a smile. leave her door cracked open 6 inches. Her birthday was coming up, as her dad would sit on her bed and ask her what she wanted as she replied, Alyssa, well, I know we don't have a lot of money, so if you could get me a pretty blue paint, I would like to paint my room. Kevin, how did we manage to end up with such a sweet little girl like you? I love you, sweetie, and I will do that for you. Good night. Ellie's sweet dreams, as he kissed her on the forehead and went off to bed. The next afternoon, she invited her 4 friends over her 11th birthday party, as they had Coke, cake, and ice cream. As her mom told her, put the Coca-Cola away. You don't need soda with ice cream. And she laughed and said, okay. And she had 2 presents that she had opened from her parents and 2 gifts from each of her friends. Her parents got her a baby blue paint for her walls with a roller brush and tray, and a headband. Marissa gave her a new outfit. Brendan gave her a card with $5 in it as she gave it to her parents. Alyssa, here, Mom and Dad, y'all need this more than I do. As her parents kissed her on her head and said, no, baby girl, this time it's yours. You keep it, as her face lit up and she put it in her jewelry box Carlene gave her, and Tori gave her a card with a gold BFF necklace. Of course, it was gold-plated, but that didn't matter to her. Page 7. Afterwards, they went in, and each one had a paintbrush their parents gave them as they painted the walls in her room, and you could hear them laughing and cackling as they danced around in shawls, flipping paint at each other, as her dad had laid down plastic, so it was okay. When they went home, she gave her mom and dad a big hug and said, thank you guys, this has been the bestest birthday ever. I love you both so much. As they shed a tear, followed by a smile, and told her she was welcome and she deserved it, as they told her to go get washed up for bed. Kevin, oh, one more thing. You can set your timer for 10 minutes tonight. Alyssa, yay! Thank you, Dad. As she ran in quickly, stripped down, and got in the shower before bed, Savannah confusingly looked at Kevin and smiled. Kevin, my boss gave me $50 bonus today for Ellie's birthday. She smiled and patted him on the back. So the last $15 of the $50 bonus, Kevin had deposited it into their SunTrust savings to get towards and their future. So now they had saved $20 in a year because their bills. Alyssa enjoyed her summer vacation when she was out listening to the birds sing and fly around and watch the squirrels gathering their nuts and running around the tree in the front yard. She'd wish she could capture the moments. She wanted to be a photographer. She didn't tell her parents because she knew cameras were very expensive and she didn't have a computer or a printer to print them out. But she knew she could make frames in class after summer break was up. Meanwhile, at her aunt's, Darla's Her and her hubby were sitting down to brunch and with coffee, talking. They were discussing her concerns for her sister and their little family. Darla, you know, Jordan, I don't get it. That woman could get a job and they would have more money coming in each week. And Cap's work way too hard. He deserves a raise. I meant that little girl has absolutely no life. It's so sad to know how bad off they are, always pinching a penny, and every time Ellie gets a little bit of money for herself, she gives it to her parents to help with the bills. I mean, she's only 11. What kind of life is that for a little girl? Jordan, sweet, she can't work. Who would sit with Ellie? You're busy with your real estate, and me being a car salesman, there's just no time. They're doing the best they can with what they have. They'll progress, it just takes time, and if we can help, we will. They know that. Darla, no, Jordan, you can't help someone who first can't help themselves. Jordan, how could you say that? They are sacrificing everything so that little one has a hot shower, a roof over her head, and food in the little girl's mouth. Darla, yeah, with food stamps. Jordan, you know, that's what they're trying. Why don't you give them a little credit? They're trying to do all they can. It'd be different if it was you in that situation. I give credit where credit is due. Jordan takes a drink of his coffee, sets the cup down. You know, I don't have time for this. This is my lunch break, and it's over, and I've got to get back to work. I'm done listening to your rambling on and on about something you know nothing about. He leaves and slams the door behind him. Darla lives a nice life with a big house and an in-ground pool, enclosed with a hot tub and a nice savings and checking, but she says she's where she is because she worked for it and earned it. But anyone who isn't so lucky with the resources, she feels they have to find them no matter how hard it is, which is very true. But that's hard to do when all of your bills take everything penny and dime. And if they try to turn, they to get help, they were afraid of the state stepping in and taking her out of the home. Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving was coming up and Alyssa was excited, but Mom got a letter saying they had cut their food stamps back $30. So now they were only getting about $2.50, and that had to stretch for the whole month. So they had got a small ham instead, and instant mashed potatoes and deviled eggs with an apple pie, but no whipped cream, which was still a good Thanksgiving dinner. They were happy and much filled as they had a landline. Aunt Lauren, Uncle Jeffrey, Nana Tabby, and Grandpa George and Jordan all called to wish them a happy Thanksgiving, which made them feel thought of. Alyssa, Mom, why didn't Aunt Darla call? Savannah, oh, sweetie, she was probably busy, so Uncle Jordan called. Alyssa, oh, okay, cool beans. Savannah, cool what? That phrases the kids come up with these days today. So cute. Go wash up for bed, hun. I love you, and good night. Alyssa, yes, Mom. I'm tired and stuffed. Love you too. Good night, Dad. Love you. Kevin, good night, hon. Sweet dreams. They all slept pretty good with a full belly and happy thoughts. After her shower, she did what she did every night. She kneeled by her bedside and prayed, then went to sleep. Thank you, Jesus, for a much blessed Thanksgiving. You always come through for us. Our family called and wished us a happy Thanksgiving, which was nice. They thought of us. So happy Thanksgiving, God, and good night. Amen. As her mom stood at her bedroom door listening as she put on a proud smile and went off to bed herself. Parents' room, laying in bed. Savannah, you know, Kev, dear, I don't know how we managed to raise such a smart, beautiful, and appreciative daughter, but we did. As she smiled, turned off the end table lamp, and laid down. Kevin, haha, yeah, she really something, but she sees how we live and are different from others, so she appreciates the finer things in life. She knows we have close to nothing, so she values what we do have, and that a roof over our heads, clothes on our backs, and food in our mouth, and most importantly, we have each other. Good night, hon. Savannah, yes, good night, dear. Because they lived the way they did and struggled, they always knew how to make the best of it and live happy lives. Chapter 2. Charms versus Greed. November 15th. Kev's job. Kevin. Hey, Ben. You got a minute? I'd like to talk to you about getting a raise. Christmas is coming up, and I want to try and give my daughter a nice Christmas this year. Ben. Yeah, well, we have to see. I will check on that for you, but need you to pull overtime for a couple of weeks. I just had to let a coworker go for drinking on the job, so I might be able to accommodate you on that. As he smiled and walked into his office. As Kevin is uplifted and pleased to hear Ben's response, he's getting back to work. Ben worked overtime as requested, but Ellie missed having him home for dinner due to he didn't get home until after 8 or 9 at night, as they had a deadline to finish that bank they had been constructing. Page 15, 9 p.m. Alyssa, Dad is really pulling his load lately. It's too bad he has to miss dinner. Savannah, yes, and I know, but we have to do what we can to be able to pay the bills and put some money in our savings and checking. Plus, we've got Christmas coming right around the corner. Alyssa, oh, well, I hope he's not doing overtime for me, Mom. I don't really need anything for Christmas. I have all I need right here. I have my family who love me very much and our home. I don't need no more than that. Savannah rubs her top of her head. You're too sweet, but it's our jobs as parents to do so. We will be okay. You don't worry your little head off. Bedtime. Alyssa. Okay, Mom, if you say so. I'm gonna go wash up for bed. Good night, I love you. As her mom says I love you back, she turns in for the night after setting a plate on the counter for Kevin for when he gets home. Prayer. Hello, Dad. Man, it's been quite a few weeks. I wish Dad didn't have to work so hard. He deserves a few days off. I wish there was something I could do to help. Amen. After the 2 weeks of overtime he was putting in, Kevin returned to ask his boss about the promotion. He wasn't in the best of moods due to he was fighting through a divorce, and it was a nasty one. Ben, I'm sorry, Kevin, I don't think I can do it. I'm in a nasty divorce. The battle, and my wife is trying to take over my company and everything I own. Kevin, but sir, my daughter's Christmas depends on it. You promised me that promotion. Ben, I'm sorry, Kev, as he closed his office door. Ronald, what a jackass. That's not right. Steve, he wouldn't know. He don't have any kids, so he has no clue on the full-time job of raising one. That's bull hockey. Torrance, what a jerk. He's talking about layoffs and my daughter needs school clothes. Conway, yeah, well, his divorce isn't our problem. Unbelievable. Page 18. Kevin returns home hotter than hell, but keeps his cool for a few minutes anyways. Kevin, this is refuse my promotion due to his divorce, as he claims his wife is taking him for everything, even the business. Savannah, calm down. I'm sure we'll figure something out. We always do. Let's just go back to bed and we have to get our rest. You'll feel better in the morning. Kevin, no, I won't. I busted my tail to try and finish this job, and this is how I'm repaid. Who stays after dark to work anyways? It's a damn construction site, for crying out loud. Savannah, I know, but it's not gonna do any good to get all worked up over it. Alyssa overheard yelling as she laid in her bed, as she closed her door and went to sleep with her night light on. Over the past few days, he'd call everyone he knew in the family trying to get help for Ellie's Christmas. Kevin, hey Mom, do you think you and Dad could help us with some money for Ellie's Christmas? He told her about his boss. Tabby, of course, dear, that's what family is for. We have to be there for one another during hard times. We will give you the help you need. I will see you tomorrow, but I must go to bed. It's been a long day. Good night now. Kevin, thanks, Mom. God bless and good night. Page 20. Savannah's sister Lauren and brother-in-law couldn't help because they were out of town, and Darla wouldn't help because she told Kevin she wasn't a handout ATM. Every time they were in a bind, as Jordan was yelling at her in the background, telling her to stop being so cold and help them, as she told him to shut up. That's it. It's hard enough. I earn my own money, and she wouldn't do no such thing, as she hung up on Kevin. The next morning, as they were sitting down for coffee, Kevin's mom, Tabby, stopped by George and had coffee with them as they talked. Kevin told them about Darla and Jordan. Tabby, God bless his little heart. He puts up with so much with her. I don't see how they lasted this long. George, damn witch. After 5 years of dealing with that loon. I would have kicked her rotten ass behind to the curb, let alone 12 years of that shit. She's a baddie as a senile coon with rabies. Ha 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 ha. Maybe if she took the stick out of her ass and shoved it down her throat and choked on it, she'd stop being a tightwad. She works for that money, bringing it in as much as she does. Tabby, George, watch your tongue. Ellie's in the other room, dear. George, what? She's gotta know her aunt's a tight-ass bitch someday. Better now than later, eh? Tabby, George Ray. George, alright. Ellie, Grandpa, come see my room. Look in. I painted it baby blue, and these are cards from my friends from my birthday. I got a jewelry box, too, from one of them. Isn't that super cool? George, yeah, it's righteous, dear. You know I should make a jewelry box and make your Aunt Darla like a ballerina right there and make her go round and round on a spring. Wouldn't that be something, Ellie? Grandpa, ha 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 ha. That's not nice, but it is funny. George, that it is. Tabby, George Ray Michaels, yelling from the other room. Ellie, ooh, Grandpa, you better stop. You're gonna get it. Grandma will put you in the doghouse and you'll sleep on the couch. Ha 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 ha. George, ah, sweet Alabama. Would that be the day, I swear, your grandma's farts are that sneaky right up on you, right from under the covers, like Vietnam, I tell ya. Alyssa, Grandpa, and she laughs hysterically. Tabby, I'd be careful what you wish for, mister. George, yes, dear, as he crosses his eyes at Ellie and sticks out his tongue being silly. Ellie laughs hysterical. Careful, Grandpa. Your face might stick like that, and she laughs again. Tabby, laughing, you tell him, dear. Her mom and dad bust out laughing, listening to them too. Tabby, well, my dear, here's $100. You give that little one the best Christmas ever, as Ellie overhears, and her eyes got big, and she smiles from ear to ear as Grandpa walks back out of her room as he sticks a 50 in her jewelry box. George, there, it'll be our little secret. Now you can get Mom and Dad something special for Christmas now, too. As he smiles and walks out when she stops him and gives him a big hug. Alyssa whispers, thank you, Papa. You're the best grandpa ever in the whole wide world. George laughed. Yeah, well, you'd better get working on that Christmas list so you can hang it on your dad's crackhead of a Charlie Brown Christmas tree. And he laughs. Ellie, Grandpa, and she laughs. Kevin, I heard that, Dad. Ha ha, oh fart. George. Oh, I'm in trouble now, walking out. Who are you calling an old fart? I could be Hugh Hefner's younger, better-looking brother. Then I'd be getting all the hot chicks. He laughs. Kevin. Oh, Dad, you're a trap. George. Hey, now, son, don't jinx me. I might break a hip. Then your mom would have to give me special treatment because she feels sorry for me. Help, I've fallen and I can't get up. Kevin. Dad. Alyssa's laying in her bed laughing so hard as her dad tells her to go to sleep. After they leave, Ellie makes her Christmas list and runs out and hangs it on the Christmas tree and goes back to bed as Mom sees and looks at it before putting it back. As I read, all I want for Christmas is a camera, Barbies, a bike, a coupon for one, and a Nintendo with games. Of course, she saw $800 being a lot of money when her list exceeded that, but between Dad's check and the $100 still make it happen. Since the Nintendo was $50, the bike was $86, and the camera was $60, but he knew she deserved it due to all she ever asked for every year was a coloring book and for peace in the world. But Dad noticed at the bottom it said a heart for Aunt Darla. Because Aunt Darla's heart is cold. As he laughed and asked her as he sat on her bedside, Kevin, and I noticed you put at the bottom that you wanted a new heart for Aunt Darla. Why, Alyssa? Well, if the Tin Man can go to the castle to get a heart, then Aunt Darla can too, right, Dad? Kevin laughed. I suppose you're right. Now get some sleep. Her Aunt Darla had stopped by the next morning and dropped off $50, giving it to Savannah as she had coffee with them before work as Ellie was eating cereal. As her aunt smiled at her faintly. Ellie, oh, Aunt Darla, I put on my Christmas list for Santa that you wanted a new heart, that maybe he can go to the castle like the Tin Man did and get you one. See, I thought of you too. As her parents spit coffee across the table in shock, Kevin and Savannah, Ellie, that wasn't very nice. Apologize right now. Alyssa, what did I say? Darla, how rude. Ugh. I guess I'll be on my way now. Bye. After they left, they all laughed as they told her that wasn't very nice thing to say. That instead, that she shouldn't have said it at all. As Dad said that she didn't even have one. Ellie, but Grandpa said her heart was black as coal, that it was rotting away. As they said, no, honey, that's just another way of saying that she's greedy and mean. $29. Ellie, oh, my bad. I must apologize then. Savannah, no dear, that won't make a difference. What's done has been done. Kevin, oh, I so gotta call Dad, as he laughs. Savannah, that's not even funny, Kev. He called and told George everything, even about the money, as he was tickled. George laughed hysterically. Yay, that's my little girl, taking after her old Gramps. As he laughed, that must have been Jordan's doing, telling her to give it to you because you couldn't scratch even a penny from her cold, clammy hands, even from the grave. As he laughs, I owe her a 20. Ha ha ha. Page 30. Kevin, Dad, as he laughs, whispers, yeah, I know. You should have seen her face. It was worth $1,000,000. As he laughs again, she probably shit a brick after she left. After they got off the phone and Darla arrived home pissed. She told Jordan what happened as she threw down her purse angrily as he laughed until he cried as she just got madder as she said she was going to bed. Jordan, well, someone had to put you in your place. Who knew it would be an 11-year-old girl, your niece at that, as he laughs hysterically. Bedroom slams. George and Jordan talked and laughed about that for days after it happened, and George would say she didn't even know she was being rude. She thought she was being helpful, as he laughs really loud. Chapter 3. Ho, 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 Merry Christmas. Christmas morning. There was a new endowed family in town, and they were a new kind of special, as they were very competitive, as their little girl is spoiled rotten and usually gets whatever she wants no matter what it is. Their big house lit up the whole street as they always go all out with Christmas every year, as everyone got a Christmas party invitation on the street as they were having a Christmas cookie bake-off, and Ellie's card said she was one of 4 contestants, as she got nervous because she never baked before, but her mom coached her step by step to make her peppermint drop cookies, and everyone, Mom, Dad, and her, all tried one, and they were scrumptious, and only then she knew she had a shot at winning. But she knew the new little girl, I would probably bought her way to the finish line, but that wasn't gonna stop her from trying anyways. Then when they got home, they didn't have Christmas dinner and settled down for the night before bed, so they went and brought Ellie's cookies. When they got there, Tamara, the mom, greeted them at the door as she was festive. Tamara, let me guess, as she looks up and down at them. You must be the Muckellins family. Yes, please come in. Savannah, yes, we are, thank you, smiles awkwardly and walks in. Tamara, Tia, come down here. Your last contestant has shown. Make yourself present, dear. They looked at each other, raising their brows, thinking it should be an eventful evening. Tamara, this is my dreamy husband, Rick. Dear, this is, the McCullens family. Rick, well, it's very nice to meet you. Please come sit. Page 33. Tia comes down in a gorgeous red and green fluffy dress that comes over her knees with red buckle, leather shoes, and a green bow in her hair as she's a lot pris and proper with her hands cupped in front of her as she smiles. So all four contestants, we on the couches, which sat across from another, a 12-year-old little boy that you could clearly tell he loves his sweets, who brought sugar cookies he made, a 13-year-old girl who brought Christmas-colored Hershey Kiss chocolate chip cookies, and an 11-year-old boy who brought peanut butter cookies, to which the peanut butter was green, and of course the two rivals, Tia and Alyssa. Tia smiles sarcastically. We had one more contestant come last minute. I hope you don't mind, as she looks around at everyone as they got started, of course. It was convenient. The dad was the judge with a half a glass of milk beside him at his little round judging table. He sat at as dear old daughter Tia walks up to him. Tia, okay, Dad, shall we get started? The stocky boy went first as her dad took a bite and raised a brow and said, "Nice, that's a sweet one," and laughed. "Oh, okay, next." Then the little girl was next as he bit into it and coughed a little. Then the next little boy went as he bit into it and smiled as each one he made a mark on his scorecard in front of him. Then Tia went up, all calm and confident, as she looked at Ellie from the corner of her eye and smiled stuck-uply, gave her dad the saucer of cookies as he bit one and said, "Wow. Uh-huh. That's a sweet one. Haha. Okay. Next." Then Ellie walked up with hers as he bit into one of her cookies, as his eyes lit up surprisingly light as he liked it. "Rick, well then, that is the best cookie I've ever tasted. Done by a child. Why, my dear, you have a gifted talent. Very impressive. And the winner is," drumroll, please, "Ellie, my dear, I do believe your cookies won, so I'd like to present you with the little 3 Christmas Cookie Challenge trophy and this check for $1,000, as he smiled. Tia, but Daddy, I thought I would win. I always win. Rick, yes, dear, but you can't always win, as he laughed. Now stop being so stubborn. Tia, huh? Grr, as she stomps off and up to her room. Page 36. Rick laughs. Sorry about that. She's very competitive and, might I add, a spoiled, rotten brat, thanks to her mom. 2 peas in a pod, them two. I myself believe in discipline and structure," as he laughs. Savannah, yes, well, thank you very, very much for giving our daughter this wonderful opportunity. Rick, yes, well, we were glad to have you. Those were some very fine peppermint drop cookies, and made all by herself. Very impressive, as he smiles. Alyssa smiles and curtsies. Thank you, sir. Yes, I did. You have made our little family very happy indeed with your very generous gifts. That will go into the savings account for sure, because I love to save. Rick, well, well, you are very respectful and responsible and polite. Where can I get me one? And he laughs out loud. Well, it was much deserved. Ellie, yes, well, when you have close to nothing as we do, every little bit never goes unappreciated. We value what little we have, and she smiles. Rick, yes, yes, indeed. And that's why I invited you. I've heard around town I should give you a shot, and I was not disappointed. As he laughs, well, thank you so very much for gracing us with your presence. Have a wonderful night. As they left the next morning, they had deposited 600 of it into the savings and used the rest to pay bills. Well, go towards them anyways, as Ellie and her parents were very pleased and proud to have such a gifted daughter. 4 years later, with an eventful and struggling yet blessed life and family, now 15, and in the ninth grade, she has her eyes open to all possibilities, and in her truly in her eyes, nothing is impossible if your heart is in it. Totally different from anyone she knew besides her parents, sister, and her uncle, and for that, she owes her parents for that as well as her sister and uncle, and for the way she was brought up. She was grateful because if she was raised like every other kid with ordinary parents and family, she may have never had an appreciation and filled with greed and needy, to which she was so glad that that was not her, because she did not want to ever live life that way, because she'd always believed that would be no way to live life, especially since she knew more than anyone that you only give life once. You only get to live life once. Why waste it with what ifs? Live it the right way the first time, and she believed that 100%. And she knew to be so grown up and mature as she is at her age is nothing less than rare, to which she is glad she lived a hard knock life, as it matured her in more ways than one. A new beginning at 15. She didn't just want to follow her dreams, she also knew that whatever she chose to do to succeed, she wanted her family to also succeed along her side of her, because they've sacrificed so much for her and made her who she is today. Lunch, Tia. Well, 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 look what the stray cat dragged in. Interesting. Ellie, you know what's interesting? The fact that you're the best thing that ever happened to this world, when in all reality you're just a spoiled little stuck-up, narcissistic, uptight bitch who isn't shit. Maybe if you stop being the way you are and be more human and warm-hearted, maybe people would actually like you. Now, if you excuse me, I've just lost my appetite due to the first sight of you. Makes me wanna gag. Besides, I gotta get to class. Excuse me, as she runs into her shoulder walking by. She just stands there with her mouth open as she looks surprised that one person has actually stood up to her instead of running away with her head down or bowing down to her, while the other kids at lunch just looked at her, whispering back and forth while snickering and laughing at her, which embarrassed her entirely. But for the first time in her life, Alyssa felt so proud to finally speak up to someone who didn't deserve recognition and or respect or even the satisfaction of the benefit of the doubt, as she smiled while walking away, headed towards sixth period, which was music class. Marissa, so wow, Ellie heard about what happened at lunch today. She laughs. I'm just sorry I missed it. I stayed back to study for this exam I've been cramming for. Alyssa, yeah, well, I didn't think everybody's ever stood up to her before. She laughs. So she kinda had it coming. Marissa, yeah, I guess so. I've known you your whole life and I've never seen that side of you before. She laughs. Good going, girl. Alyssa, yeah, well, one can only take so much before they get tired of dealing with it. Besides, I've gotta stand up for myself sometime, huh? So I suppose we better rehearse our tree we gotta do in the auditorium next week. So let's get started. Amazing Grace, right, well, let's go. So after they finished rehearsal, it's after 12 a.m., so Mar goes home and Alyssa showers and turns in for the night. The next morning, she wakes up to her mom silently crying on the couch as she slowly grabs 2 cups of coffee and sits down beside her and hands her a cup. Alyssa, hey, Mom, hey, are you okay? What's wrong? Savannah sighs. I just got off the phone with George, as she paused. Tabby's. She went in for a physical checkup last week, and I guess she had terminal cancer for a long time, and she passed away last night in her sleep. They found out when they did the autopsy this morning, and he just found out. He's completely wrecked, and she had 4 olive-sized tumors in her head. No, but I just talked to her last Friday, and she sounded fine. She was fine, Mom. She teared up and ran into her room and slammed her door while blaring her stereo, tuning the world out to 80s hair bands music while sitting on the bed crying her eyes out with her face in her hands, cuffed with her knees bent with her elbows rested on them. Chapter 4. Where there's a will, there's always a way. Page 43. Lost Nana at 15. For almost a month, she didn't go to school, answer or take calls from friends, eat barely, and didn't talk to anyone, including her parents or family. Her mom sat around watching her decline as she tried to be there for her, but she just wanted to be alone as she just blared the rock on her stereo. Thursday, Alyssa was in her room, just sitting up on her bed with her knees up and her back rested up against the back of her wall when George walked in and closed the door behind him. Alyssa, Grandpa, hey, what's up? George, hey, sweetie. He brushes her hair from her face and sighs. Look, it hit me so hard when I found your Nana in our bed cold as ice, but I knew she wouldn't want me to be sad. She would want me to honor her memory, and I know she'd want you to do the same thing, hon. Now you've been given up in here for a month. Today missed your trio, which was hoping to go see, and I think it's due time you got back on that horse and ride again. Your heart is bigger than your brain, but there's gotta come a time when you start living for you. Besides, that's what your grandmother would have wanted you to do. So if you don't do it for yourself, find the strength and do it for her, because she will always be watching over you. She's in a better place now in God's hands, but that doesn't mean she's not with us, because she's in spirit and always will be. He kissed her on the forehead and smiled. Ellie smiles with a single teardrop. Thanks, Grandpa. You always know what to say. But you're right. Thanks, I love you so much. I never thought of it that way. She gives him a big hug and wipes her cheek and smiles. George, no problem, kiddo, as he smiles. 45. So she cleans up her room, takes a much-needed shower since the last one she took was 2 days ago, as she turned on the hot water and slid down the shower wall with her hands in her face and just cried for 45 minutes. Then she made something to eat and watched home videos of when she was little, as her grandparents and family celebrated birthdays at her house and her house, Grandpa pushing her on this tire swing. the barbecues they had, and so on as she cried, smiled, and laughed as Mom and Dad sat and watched with her, and George stood leaning over the back of the couch with a smile on his face. There, Mom put her arm around her and kissed her on the forehead. George, man, those were the days. Smiles as silent tears overwhelmed them all as they laughed at the good times they captured on tape. 46. Back to school and Darla drama. So as Kevin had changed his job to now being a partner with an old friend, Jeff, at Jeff's auto mechanics shop with less hours and better pay. Savannah had finally decided to go to work as a realtor agent, of course, freelance, buying fixer-upper trailers and houses, and has been successful with it so far, making good money, but puts most of it into the savings and checking, and the remainder goes towards the bills to ensure the bills were paid every month. Darla calls her dad, being Darla. Darla, hey Dad. So, I heard about Mom. I'm so sorry. It must be hard for you being there without her. Isn't that, I don't know, weary for you? I mean, you built that house when you guys were teens, still in high school. And now without her around and all those memories staring you in the face day after day out, day in and day out. George, yeah, well, I'm handling it pretty well, actually, dear. 47. Darla, yeah. So, if you need anything at all, just don't hesitate to call. I love you, Dad. Good night. George, yep, thanks for calling, dear. Good night. For the next few weeks, she'd been calling, checking up on him, as he thought it was surprisingly due to she'd usually call once a year, so he thought it was odd for her. And when she called once a year, it was for the holidays. A few times a year checking in on them, but he didn't think too much of it, so he'd just shrug it off his shoulders and go about his normal day, tending to the house, watching wrestling, the races, football, laying on the couch and lounging, which was his norm routine. Throughout the course of the next 6 months, there were, as usually, and calm. Alyssa was and has been doing freelance photography with her Christmas camera while attending school, and she was back on track. 48. Art class. As she was in art class, she was making frames for her photography pictures, as she'd do every day until she had stocked up just enough. Miss Marlowe. Hey, sweetie. Frames, nice. Are they for something special? Alyssa. Yeah, actually, they're for my photography pictures. Miss Marlowe. Interesting. Bring them in sometime. I'd love to see them. And who knows, you might just be able to make something out of them. Are you any good? Alyssa, well, I think so. Miss Marlowe, nice. Okay, well, I can't wait to see them. Enjoy. The other teens snickered and whispered to each other, smiling while looking at her, glaring. Carlene, yeah, laugh it up because you know you have nothing better to do. 49. Miss Marlowe and Alyssa looked up and smiled as class was ending. Everything started to look up. The family was getting back on track and getting on top of everything. The money was coming in sufficiently, and everything worked out perfectly. She had went to college and became a model and a photographer and a best-selling author of 3 novels that she had wrote in her adult life. And everybody lived happily ever after.